Hello and welcome to my channel where I search for bargain properties in Spain. Today I'm going to talk about this property. It's going for €160,000 and it's got its own private swimming pool. It's located in a place called Todosol, which is near Aguilas in the southern part of Murcia, right near the border with Almeria. We'll start off by looking through some of the photos and talking about some of the features of this property. And if you wait till the end, then I'll talk about why I think it's cheap, and then you can decide whether you think it's a bargain or not. So in this case, it's a 2-bedroom property. As you can see, it's got a nice big kidney-shaped swimming pool. This is just beside the entrance onto the street. And over here there's a garage and a utility room. Another view of that, nice bougainvillea growing over there. Outside dining area with a barbecue. And as you can see in this photo, it's actually a very nice built barbecue. Great for entertaining people. As you can see again, a very big terrace. Again, another shot of the terrace. Very nice. And the swimming pool again. One thing I have noticed in a few photos is that there's a shadow by the pool or over the pool in many of the photos. So I'm thinking that the pool is probably partly in shadow or in shade a lot of the time. And it's on another 2 estate agents' websites, this same property. So you can contact whichever one of those that you wish. I will leave links in the description below. Again, another shot here. Here's where the garage is. There aren't any shots that I've found on the internet of the interior of the garage. Again, a kitchen. Small, but it looks pretty decent. Kitchen again. A kitchen looking into, I think, is probably the living room area. And there you go, a small living room. A dining area. Okay, your living dining area. Bathroom looks pretty decent. There's the bedroom. Now a lot of this house seems to have this paneling around the edge. I don't know if that's covering up an issue. Perhaps there's a damp problem. That's pure speculation, but I would guess that that might be the case. Second bedroom and office. And back to the start again. And let's just have a quick look on another real estate agent's website. Now, I did see this listed with 3 agents. However, the 3rd agent's website didn't seem to be working. So we're just going to look at these 2. Okay, a different shot of the exterior. Another one of the pool. Again, the shade or shadow is across part of the pool. This is the entrance presumably to the street. Okay, and the bedroom again, kitchen, nice terrace area, and that's it. Okay. So what I'll do next is we'll just have a quick look at the cadastral website. So now I believe this is it. If I'm wrong, do let me know. And if we look here, we'll get the details of the property. Okay, so we can see it was built in 1975. According to this, there's 146 total constructed area. Now we can see a breakdown of that down here. So Vivienda, that's the actual main house itself, and that's a total of 74 square meters. Now I'd imagine that's probably a little bit less than that because a lot of these older properties that when they're surveyed by the Catastro, they're surveyed based on the roof area. And since the roof has a slight overhang, I'd imagine that is not taken into consideration. And it's the actual inside of the building is probably a little bit smaller than 74 square meters. Almacén, that is this part here, which is the utility room and garage. So probably not livable space, but you might be able to do something with that. And finally, then we have this area here, Deportivo, which is the swimming pool. And then we have the total square meters of the plot, which is 454 square meters. So 454 square meters detached house, swimming pool, 2 bedrooms. I mean, this is very cheap, and especially when I show you the location in a moment, I don't think there's anything close to the coast in Spain, in southern Spain, for 160,000 euros. I don't think you'll find anything close to the Mediterranean for that price. So let's now have a look at where the property is located. Now, it's located in, as I said, the southern part of the Murcia region of Spain. It's actually near the border with Almeria, and it's close to a town called Aguilas, which is quite a large town on the coast. Now, Aguilas is a working town. It's not very touristy. There are some beaches there, and there are a few small hotels, but it's not very touristy, and it still feels very Spanish. And where the property is located is in a place called Todosol, which is here, which is in between Aguilas and this town here, which is called Calabardina. Now, Calabardina is mostly holiday homes owned by middle-class Spanish people. There isn't a huge amount going on there. There are probably about, I think, 3 or 4 restaurants, all very nice. A very quiet, very nice place. The property that we're looking at in Todosol is, as you can see, roughly halfway between Aguilas and Calabardina, which means it's about 2.5 kilometers from either. Now, if we zoom in into Todosol, we can see that, and now I'll just show you exactly where the property is located. It is this property here. You can get from here around this dirt track and down quite easily to this beach. It's less than 1 kilometer away. Now, I don't know how easy that access is. I've never walked down there, so I do not know, but I'd imagine you can get to this small beach here. Or alternatively, you can walk out of the complex and either take one of these paths, or there's actually a very nice cycle path along here and pedestrian walkway, and go to this beach here, which is a much more substantial beach. And that's just over 1 kilometer away. So access to 2 beaches, easy access to Calabardina here and to Aguilas here. There's actually a bus that connects those 2 towns. So, I mean, a fantastic location, really. I don't think there's anywhere, well, frankly, on the entire Mediterranean coast of Spain, that close to a beach for this kind of price. So just to give you a little bit more information about Aguilas. Aguilas seems to be going through quite a bit of development at the moment. There are lots of cranes building new apartment buildings. There are all the big Spanish shops that you'd expect, such as Mercadona. There's a big Decathlon Sports. You can see there's an Aldi there. And nearby, you have the town of Pulpy, which is, I think, is about 15 or 20 kilometers away over here. And they're actually building a high-speed train line connecting Pulpy to Almeria and Murcia. So you've also got that. So all in all, it looks like a pretty decent area. So why is it so cheap? Well, the main reason is because it's located here in this complex called Todosol. Now, Todosol was built in the 1970s, and it was initially aimed at Dutch people. However, I've been told that nowadays there's much more of a mix of other nationalities as well. So what's the problem with Todosol? Well, Todosol has never been fully incorporated or accepted into the control of the local council. Obviously, from the council's point of view, they want to see paved roads, they want to see wastewater systems, all of this infrastructure, and they don't want to pay for it themselves. So over recent years, there have been many attempts to legislate for this and legislate for a process that will eventually incorporate Todosol into the control of the local council. However, this has not happened yet. And as a consequence of this, there can be problems getting things like habitation certificates in order to get a proper water supply. Now, all of the houses do have water supply, but the water supply is what was provided really to a builder when they were developing the complex, so it comes under the category of a building supply. And the main knock-on effect of this is that you might not be able to get a habitation license, which in turn means that you cannot rent the property out to anyone, either a tourist or a long-let. So as you can see, there are lots of houses here with water in the swimming pools. There are people living here, but you might not be able to rent it out to anyone, and you might not be able to get a mortgage, or you might have difficulty getting a mortgage. So really this property is for someone who has the money, which in this case they're asking for 160,000 euros, although that will probably cost you about 176,000 euros once the taxes and notary fees, lawyers' fees, etc. are included. So it's for someone who has that money ready to go and is looking for somewhere cheap near the sea. I mean, I don't think you'll find a cheaper deal than that, but whether it works for you or not depends on whether you're looking for a property to just live in or spend some of the year in as a holiday home, or if you're looking for an investment. So this one is definitely not a buy-to-let property at the moment. In a few years' time, all these issues may well be resolved and you will be able to do whatever you want with it, possibly. But at the moment, this is not the case. And the only other issues that I've seen with it so far are a possible damp issue, and that's because I can see there's paneling around the walls, which isn't too common. But having said all that, it's still 160,000 euros. I mean, is this a bargain? Is it the right price? I mean, it's been on the market for a while now. Maybe you could put an offer in. But look where it is. I mean, it's that close to the sea. Where else in Spain are you going to get something for that price at this time? So there you go. Todosol, 160,000 euros. Is it a bargain? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you're going to buy a property in Spain, make sure you use a lawyer. Never skimp out on good legal advice. Thanks for watching.